Hey guys, welcome back to another tasting. My name's Ryan, and today we are doing the Smoke Bomb Ardbeg 10. I was really excited to try this a couple years back. I had heard a bunch of whiskey channels review it. I had tried Lagavulin 16, the classic drink from Parks and Rec. You know, Ron Swanson at the steakhouse. He's like, the whiskey, Lagavulin 16. And I was like, what is that? It's an Islay Scotch, which we've mentioned on the show before. We've definitely had hints of that peat in the Japanese whiskeys, the Nika Yoichi that we tried. But this is an Islay Scotch. So this is right from Scotland, from the islands, and this is very, very smoky. So they get the peated moss from the island. It's local vegetation. They smoke it, burn it, and then they put it in with the malt. And while they're cooking the malt, which brings out the sweetness like we've talked about before, while they're making the scotch, they put this smoky peat in, which gives it an incredibly smoky, fireplacey sort of taste. It's definitely an acquired taste. It's very interesting. There's definitely different levels to the smokiness. Like Talisker 10 is very mild. Highland Park 12, kind of mild smoke. You move up into Lagavulin, you're getting more smoky, and then Ardbeg, Laphroaig, these are like the most smoky whiskeys that you can get. I mean, right on the front it says the flavor notes would be sea spray, tarry rope, immense smoke intensity. Ardbeg 10, I'm really excited. But I'm not just going to do one today. We have a surprise, and we are going to compare it to the brand new 2022 release of the Kirkland Islay Scotch. This has no age statement on it. This is coming in at like $25, maybe $30, depending on your Costco. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I took a little sip a couple weeks ago. It was decent. I thought it compared to Ardbeg more than any of the other Islay Scotches. And so I wanted to put them head to head in this tasting. So let's get right to it. Start with the Ardbeg 10 here, which I believe they have a 5 now, and I think they have a couple special releases like the OA, and I think there's another one I can't remember. But then they go up into like the 15, the 19, the 25, and apparently the smoke really starts to dissipate as it ages, and it takes on more of like a kind of a wild cheese sort of flavor, which I don't know if I'm very interested in that. But the 10 has still some of that honey, still some of that fruit, but smoke. So let's start with the Ardbeg 10. I mean, color-wise, I don't know if you guys can see this, the Ardbeg 10 looks lighter than the Kirkland. The Kirkland, again, has no age statement. I believe it's Alexander Murray and Company does the Scotch. Weird that they wouldn't put an age statement on. My guess is it's a blend of a bunch of stuff, and they want to make sure that they have it through the holidays. And if they put an age statement on there and they ran out of that aged statement whiskey, they wouldn't be able to keep selling it. So I'm sure they did it as a marketing thing to make sure that this is at your Costco all season. But let's start with the 10-year-old Ardbeg. Whew. I mean, there's a difference between peat and smoke. Peat, we've talked about on the channel before. It's kind of that, it's just like a hint of smoke, like a hint of smokiness to it. Like if you would, they smoke the cocktails after they make an old fashioned, it adds just like a hint of smokiness to it. That's more of what I would describe as peat. Where if I would describe something as smoky, I'm getting like cigar, like fireplace, like something that's really cooking, like a barbecue. And that's what I'm getting here. I'm getting a hint of salt water, some ocean water. It's got a saline smell to it. A bit of gasoline, like a bit of that, it's a chemically smoky, maybe a hint of honey, hint of spice. It's very herbaceous, like it smells very herbal. Like I would think, green vegetables, garden, forest. Let's give the Kirkland a smell. Now the Kirkland, I think, is a little bit higher on the alcohol here. Yeah, it's about 4% more. It's 50% alcohol, and the Ardbeg is 46. Getting a little more of the alcohol in this. I get a little more honey. It's definitely a little more mellow in the smoke. So when I did try it and I was like, it's like the Ardbeg. Side by side, no, it's a lot less smoky. It's still got a really good amount of smoke. Cigar smoke. Almost like a caramel, maybe a salted caramel. Some honey, some fruit, some dried apricots, dried oranges. A lot of that malt. And again, the saline, the ocean water. So let's start with the taste of the Kirkland. After really smelling it and really kind of picking out those flavors, I didn't do that the first time. I kind of smelled and took a sip the first time I tried it. And I was like, whoa, smoke, smoke, smoke. There is that smoke, but after really kind of honing in on those flavors, I am getting that dried apricot, that honey, the caramel. It's got a salty element to it, salted caramel. There's a real sweetness to it, like a sweetness, like a honey, kind of like a baked apple, honey sort of sweetness, like a brown sugar. I'd say probably brown sugar, but the smoke is like a really delicate cigar flavor. I think this would go really good if you smoke cigars or you're having some smoked meats off the grill. The sweetness there is really great, and I think it kind of transcends that just smoky, complement to a meal or a cigar, and it really kind of takes on its own life as it can be drank and enjoyed anytime because of that sweetness. Let's move on to the Ardbeg. Wow, just going right back to it, I'm getting so much green, herbaceous, fresh herbs, fresh parsley, rosemary, like a forest floor. There's still that smoke, but man, the ocean water and the influence of like by the sea, by the forest. It's a lot drier. It's not as sweet. But the richness of it, the smoke is intense. It is, immense smoke intensity like it says on the bottle. I would say they're pretty comparable though in the smoke. I mean, this one definitely is more smoke than the Kirkland, but I think the intensity isn't overwhelming. Now, maybe that's because I just tried, something a little softer. It doesn't seem like a huge leap, but I'm really getting those fresh vegetable notes and the vegetal notes and the earthiness. Green peppers, jalapenos, smoke, peat, salt water. I would say there's very little fruit notes, where I think you're going to get more dried apricots. It's not as intense fruit as you would think, but there is the fruit and honey to this one. There's very little to no sweetness on the Ardbeg. I'm getting those vegetal forward notes, earthy notes like mushrooms, green peppers. I wouldn't say like fresh salad. I would say like a cooked roasted vegetables like onions and green peppers and jalapenos. Maybe you kind of grill those vegetables up because of that smoke in there, right? The viscosity is less. It looks lighter in color and it tastes lighter. Like I would say the smoke is intensified, but the mouthfeel is a lot lighter than the Kirkland. That may be because of the 4% alcohol difference, but yeah, just a lot more earthy. Yeah, the honey, maybe some ginger, apricot. The smoke is really well integrated into this, and for under $30, I think this is a real steal here. I wish. Oh, it does say Alexander Murray and Company made it, but I wish they would give a little more information on the aging and stuff like that. But the Ardbeg, I mean, these are very different. I think if you're looking for something a little more dry, a little more of an experience, something that maybe would go good with food or a cigar, but something that's really going to challenge you, open your palate to new things, the Ardbeg is really great. But I think it comes in at like $50 or $60. I think when I bought it, this bottle's almost gone. I bought this over, I think 2 years ago. It was. Guys, my camera died in the last video, and I had trouble getting the footage recovered last night. I wasn't really sure what I got and what I didn't get. I remember I was saying that the Ardbeg was like $65 or $70 now, and I paid like $45 for it. I got the audio, so I was able to listen to the final parts of my review. I did say that the Kirkland was a clear winner. I thought the value of the Kirkland was really amazing. It had a lot of complex flavors. It was definitely a little more sweet than the Ardbeg. I'd say a little more sweet in general for an Islay Scotch. And Kirkland tends to be a little bit on the sweeter end, no matter if it's their wine, their beer, their liquors, their tequilas and whiskeys and bourbons, all tend to have a little more residual sugar in them. Sometimes it can be off-putting and kind of turn me away from their products, but I think with this Islay Scotch, I was really impressed with the overall complexity and the subtleness for a Kirkland signature. And then the Ardbeg, I think, is that herbal, earthy, sort of foresty Islay Scotch that is just so unique and interesting. But again, not for everybody. I would not recommend this to somebody who is just getting into whiskey. I wouldn't recommend this to somebody who hasn't ever had an Islay Scotch. I mean, this is like the smoke bomb, right? So I think it's a little too much for that, but it is really good. On the final ratings here, I'm going to give the Ardbeg a 7.9 out of 10. I thought the earthiness, the herbs, the vegetal notes, all that stuff was really interesting on top of the smoke. It was like a grilled vegetable medley. I thought it was just really interesting and unique. So I'm going to give it a 7.9 out of 10. And I definitely think you guys should try it. And then the Islay from Kirkland, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think the value for this coming in around $30, maybe up to $40 in some markets, wherever you're picking this up at. That value is really unheard of when it comes to an Islay Scotch. And so I really am excited about Kirkland and the no age statement. They should be able to keep pumping this out for the entire holiday season. So I'm sure you'll be able to pick up a bottle, and I would give it a try. So, hey, Jay, get away from the camera, please. My cat's trying to knock my camera down. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next week, enjoy the tastings.